The day Diego Martinez discovered his past self had filed a maintenance complaint against his future self was the day he seriously considered whether the USS Consequences was worth the paycheck. This doesn't make any sense, Martinez muttered, staring at the work order that had appeared in his queue at 600. I filed this complaint yesterday about a problem I'm apparently going to cause tomorrow. Chuck looked up from reorganizing their circuit breakers by electromagnetic personality. His antennae tilted in what Martinez had learned meant this is fascinating and potentially catastrophic. Time travel. We don't have time travel technology. Correct. However, we do have a quantum entanglement communication array, 3 experimental temporal sensors, and Lieutenant Fisher. Martinez's headset crackled. Martinez, this is Brooks. We need you in the quantum lab immediately. What happened? Fisher happened, and before you ask, yes, it involves the equipment he wasn't supposed to touch, and no, he didn't read the manual. It's Tuesday, Martinez said, which explained everything. It's actually Wednesday, Chuck corrected gently. No, Chuck, I lived this day yesterday. It's definitely Tuesday. The quantum lab on deck 31 looked like someone had let a physicist fight an engineer in a room full of expensive equipment, and nobody won. Cables snaked across the floor in patterns that hurt to look at directly. 3 separate monitoring stations beeped different warnings, and in the center of it all stood Lieutenant Fisher, looking pleased with himself next to what appeared to be a swirling basketball-sized sphere of light that shouldn't exist. Martinez, Fisher waved enthusiastically. You're here, again. Again. Martinez approached cautiously, the way one approaches unexploded ordnance that's also somehow smug about existing. You were here yesterday. Well, tomorrow. It's complicated. Fisher gestured at the sphere. I've created a localized temporal anomaly. Brooks stood against the far wall with her arms crossed, radiating the energy of someone who'd tried to stop this and failed. He was attempting to recalibrate the quantum sensors and accidentally link them to the ship's chronometer and the waste reclamation system. Why the waste reclamation system? Martinez asked, though he immediately regretted it. It was the only system with enough processing power available, Fisher said defensively. And it worked, mostly. There have been some side effects. Define side effects. The laboratory door opened. Martinez walked in. Martinez, who was already in the room, watched himself walk into the room. Oh, good, the new Martinez said, looking at the original Martinez. You got my message. What message? Original Martinez asked. The maintenance complaint I'm about to file about you breaking the temporal stabilizer trying to fix the temporal anomaly. I haven't broken anything yet. Not yet, no. But in about 20 minutes, you're going to try disconnecting the quantum sensor array, and you're going to cross the wrong wires and create a feedback loop that sends the entire maintenance department back to last Tuesday. Both looked at Fisher. Fisher raised his hands. In my defense, the manual was very poorly written. Fascinating, Bean's voice echoed through the lab speakers. There are now 2 of you. This raises important questions about identity and coffee preference. Not now, Bean, both said simultaneously. Chuck approached the second Martinez carefully. Which timeline are you from? About 4 hours ahead. Future Martinez pointed at the sphere. That's creating a temporal echo. Everything within 50 feet is experiencing time nonlinearly. Can you fix it? Brooks asked. I tried. That's what caused the stabilizer to break and sent us all back to Tuesday. Admiral Patterson's voice crackled over the intercom. Someone tell me why I just got 3 different reports about Martinez, one of them from Martinez, all complaining about Martinez. Original Martinez grabbed his communicator. Sir, we have a temporal situation. Is anyone dead? Not yet, sir. Is anyone likely to become dead? Martinez looked at future Martinez, who shrugged. Probably not. Then handle it. I've got a staff meeting in 20 minutes, and I'm not explaining time paradoxes before lunch. The solution is actually quite simple, Fisher said, pulling up a holographic display that looked like someone had taught spaghetti to exist in 4 dimensions simultaneously. We just need to collapse the temporal field by introducing a causality anchor. In English, Original Martinez said, we need something that exists identically in all affected timelines to stabilize the loop. That would be me, Bean announced. I am constant across all temporal iterations. I am eternal. I am inevitable. You're a coffee machine, Future Martinez said. A coffee machine who exists outside your primitive linear time. I have already made coffee for past you, present you, and future you. I am the alpha and omega of beverage service. Chuck's antennae perked up. Bean makes a valid point. As a network system, it maintains continuous operation across all timeframes. It could theoretically serve as a stabilization reference. We're not using the sentient coffee maker as a time anchor, Brooks said firmly. Do you have a better idea? Bean asked. Actually, Future Martinez interjected, in my timeline, we tried 17 different solutions. Using Bean was the only one that worked. Vindication, Bean said smugly. Original Martinez looked at his future self. Did you just come back to tell me to use the coffee machine? Mostly, I came back to warn you not to try the chicken surprise in the mess hall tomorrow. But yes, use Bean. Fisher was already connecting cables to Bean's network interface with the enthusiasm of someone who'd learned nothing from creating this problem in the first place. If we route Bean's consciousness through the quantum array and synchronize it with the temporal field's resonance frequency. Stop, Brooks held up a hand. Stop talking before you make it worse. How could it possibly get worse? Bean asked, just as the laboratory door opened again. Admiral Patterson walked in. Then another Admiral Patterson walked in. Then a third Admiral Patterson walked in, looked at the other two, and sighed deeply. I knew I should have stayed in bed, all three Pattersons said in unison. 20 minutes, 4 temporal duplicates, and 1 minor existential crisis later. Martinez stood in front of Bean's interface, while Chuck made final adjustments to the quantum array. This is insane, Brooks said, monitoring the readings. We're using a coffee machine to fix a hole in spacetime. To be fair, Fisher offered, Bean is a very advanced coffee machine. I appreciate the recognition of my capabilities, Bean said. Initiating temporal stabilization sequence. This may feel strange. Define strange, Original Martinez said. You may experience a sensation of having always been about to have had this conversation. The temporal sphere pulsed. Martinez felt like he was being turned inside out, outside in, and sideways through a dimension that didn't have a name yet. Every version of himself he'd ever been and would be converged into a single point. Reality snapped back into focus. Martinez stood in the quantum lab, alone. Well, alone except for Chuck, Brooks, Fisher, and a single Admiral Patterson, who looked significantly less duplicated than before. Did it work? Martinez asked. All temporal duplicates have collapsed, Chuck confirmed, checking his sensors. Timeline appears stable. The anomaly is dissipating. I have successfully anchored causality, Bean announced. You're welcome. This experience has given me new perspective on my existence. I now understand that I am not merely a coffee machine, but a fundamental constant of the universe. You're still a coffee machine, Martinez said, but his heart wasn't in it. A coffee machine who saved you from temporal paradox. Fair point. Patterson checked his chronometer. Is it actually Wednesday now? Yes, sir, Brooks confirmed. Good, Fisher, you're banned from the quantum lab. But, sir, permanently, forever, across all timelines. Patterson turned to leave, then paused. Martinez, did I already attend my staff meeting, or is that still upcoming? I honestly don't know, sir. Neither do I. I'm going to attend it anyway, just to be safe. The Admiral left, muttering about temporal mechanics and early retirement. Fisher began disconnecting his equipment with exaggerated care. For what it's worth, I learned a lot from this experience. What did you learn? Brooks asked dangerously. That the manual was right about not connecting the quantum sensors to the waste reclamation system. Get out, Brooks and Martinez said together. That evening, Martinez filed his maintenance report, while Chuck performed a temporal scan of the entire ship to ensure no other loops had formed. All clear, Chuck announced, though I am detecting a minor anomaly in the mess hall. What kind of anomaly? Tomorrow's menu appears to be appearing on today's display. It includes something called chicken surprise. Martinez and his future self had been right. He made a note to skip it. Human Martinez, Chuck said thoughtfully, do you think we'll remember the other timelines? I remember future me warning me about the chicken, Martinez said. So maybe. Time travel is weird. Technically you did not time travel, Bean interjected. You experienced nonlinear temporal existence. There is a difference. Is there really, though? Yes. One sounds cooler. Martinez couldn't argue with that logic. His maintenance queue pinged. New work order. Strange humming noise in Deck 18 that only happens on Thursdays. How can something only happen on Thursdays? Martinez wondered aloud. After today, Chuck said wisely, I believe anything is possible regarding temporal phenomena. It's Wednesday, Martinez said. Yes, all day Wednesday, consistently, without repeating or branching into parallel iterations. I'm going to appreciate that while it lasts. Would you like coffee to celebrate your linear existence? Bean asked. Yes, Martinez said. Yes, I would. The coffee was perfect, as always, and tasted like it had been brewed across multiple timelines simultaneously, which Martinez decided not to think too hard about. Somewhere in the depths of the USS Consequences, Fisher was already planning his next experiment. The quantum sensors hummed contentedly, free of temporal anomalies for the moment. Bean added temporal anchor to its growing list of accomplishments. And Martinez, having successfully navigated a Tuesday that turned into a Wednesday via a brief stop in yesterday's tomorrow, decided that some days you just had to trust the coffee machine and hope for the best. After all, when you're holding the universe together with duct tape and determination, sometimes the tape is sentient, and that's just Tuesday. Or Wednesday. Time travel made it hard to be sure. But at least, Martinez thought as he took another sip of temporally stable coffee, it was always the right time for maintenance, past, present, or future.